Good morning, guys. I will be going live in 3 minutes. I'll be live in 3 minutes, getting my coffee ready for the broadcast. Be live in 3. Good morning. I'll be live in 2 minutes. And if you have questions or comments or want to jump in and ask your question, you can do that now. You can start loading up your questions now. Just tap the comments section below and you can jump in. If you want to join my live stream when I go live, you can do that as well. To do that, all you have to do is click on the link that I just posted in the comment section, or you can text 480-712-4177. I'll be live in 2 minutes. Be right back. Good morning. Here we are. It's nearly the end of April, the longest year of everyone's life. And I'm thrilled to be back today. Yesterday was fun. For those of you who caught my odd Sunday live stream, and it was only on YouTube, I wound up having to go down to Tucson to do some technical support for my aging parents who had some technical challenges, and went down there and spent some time helping them get things moving again. I wanted to start today, my topic, as you saw, was feeding your mind. And I wanted to start today, before I jump right into the topic, to just share a personal message. This weekend, a longtime friend, really dear friend, Larry Gatos, lost his mom. And his mom passed away Saturday. She wound up getting COVID several weeks ago, and her immune system, her body couldn't handle it. And she passed away Saturday. And so for those of you who are dealing with this directly, who've had friends and family loved ones that have been lost, thoughts and prayers to all of you. And of course, to my dear friend, Larry, who, again, I am so fortunate at 53 to still have my parents. And I haven't gone through that kind of loss, and I can't even imagine what that feels like. And so Mama Gatos is in my thoughts and my prayers this morning. So that's what I always called her, Mama Gatos. And so there you go. That's the start before I dive into topic today, because I just felt like it was really important for me to address that. We're all living through incredibly challenging times, unprecedented times. Today, there's fear, there's uncertainty. It's unlike anything we've ever gone through. And think about this for a second. When 9/11 happened, social media wasn't around. This is the first time in our world's history where social media has fueled the spread of what I think is a second pandemic. And that's the pandemic full of headlines that are just designed to scare us. You know, this weekend, I saw probably 100 references to things that were going on in the news and things that were said in the news and stories and information and misinformation. And by the way, I microwave my coffee after it comes out of the coffee maker, and it's nuclear hot. So that wince was pain because I just burnt my tongue. We're being bombarded right now with information overload, information online, it's in the news, it's in, name the source that you acquire news from. And some of it's accurate and some of it's not, right? You have to filter through that. And as I'm reading comments from friends and as I'm seeing what's going on, I'm seeing a lot of uncertainty. And I mean, uncertainty right now, if you talk to people, is at an all-time high. And it sparked a lot of anxiety in people. It sparked fear in people. And so it occurred to me this weekend, what are you doing to protect your mind? What are you doing to protect your mind? Jim Rohn once said, we need to stand guard at the door of our own minds. And what he meant by that is the information you feed your mind is what you focus on, and it becomes your reality. And you can see that play out every day. Like if you watch news on one side of the argument or news on the other side of the argument, you immerse yourself in that, and eventually what you hear, what's being fed to you, starts to become what's real for you. So what are you doing to feed your mind the right stuff, to protect it from the wrong stuff? There is right stuff out there, but you have to seek it out. You have to seek out stuff that has value, content that has value for your mind, your soul, who you are. You know, when Steve Jobs decided to create something spectacular with Apple Computer, I'm a huge fan of Apple products. He was laughed at by people. He was ridiculed by people. And people told him that no one would ever own a personal computer. It was a dream. It was stupid. But his belief, his vision, his mission were so clear in his mind that nothing on the outside, no influence could distract him. Nothing could change him from his mission, change the course of his destiny. And today, personal computers are on every house. They're in cars. They're in the palm of our hand. I mean, seriously, like this is a computer. And his vision was clear and his determination was unrelenting. To do something amazing requires one simple thing. You need to give yourself permission to ignore all the stuff that's around you, to block out the noise and to follow your gut, right? A lot of people aren't following their gut right now. They're listening to the crowd. They're jumping in to this herd mentality. And so if you're watching the news today, or you're reading articles online, or you're looking at social media, and I was doing a lot of that this weekend because I wanted to see what people were feeling, you could easily be distracted and swayed by the negative information and all the stories and all the stuff that's out there. You would think that the world is ending and like hope is lost. You remember that line in Star Wars? Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope, right? It feels like it's hopeless, but it's not. It's just the way that the story is spun. And why people start to believe this and why they start to buy into it is because everyone is. I'm processing this. our personal experiences of what's going on today can be summed up brilliantly by, and for those of you who know me, you know I pay attention and follow a lot of stuff from Tony Robbins. I went to Business Mastery. I use the rapid planning method to chunk my day. He said something that I thought was brilliant, and it's I times F equals PR. I times F equals PR, which means information times focus equals your personal reality. So what that means simply means is the information that you're feeding your brain daily, you start to focus on, you start to concentrate, you get tunnel vision. And soon that's what your life is about. Your life becomes, your personal reality becomes the information you feed your brain because that's what you focus on. And so therefore it becomes true. I times F equals PR. So as I was reading comments about things that were said last week in press conferences, and I was seeing the news on one side spin it one way and the news on another side spin it the other way, I found myself being sucked into it, so much so that I made a joke about it. Now, I avoid a lot of political stuff, but I found myself being sucked into it. And I actually found myself creating something, a joke about it online, which is really out of character for me in this sense, because I know that this is just not good for business. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get sucked into it. And I stopped and I'm like, why did I just do that? What happened? What shifted for me that allowed me to go down that path? And, you know, I think right now, a lot of us are attempting to understand and process all the stuff that's going on around us. There's a lot of news, there's a lot of information, and we're getting our information right now from sources that aren't designed to feed our soul and our minds. Instead, they're designed to feed us information that we focus on that becomes our personal reality, our truth. And it isn't always good. The quantity, the quality, the stuff that's being fed to us is numbing us, and it does nothing to build us up. It's not feeding us. It's not nurturing us. And it's funny because 10 years ago, I wouldn't have given a shit about nurturing my soul. 20 years ago, I wouldn't have cared about it. But now I focus on that. I spend a lot of time and attention trying to improve me, because improving me improves everyone around me. And so I spend an awful lot of time working on this. And the more I work on this, the more I discover that these outside influences are a real distraction and they're really unhealthy. You know, I love cheeseburgers, but if you ate nothing but cheeseburgers for 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you would get sick and you would die eventually. But we continuously allow our brains to be fed garbage, and we willingly do it. You know, Justin, you're right, absolutely right. Quality of input equals quality of output. Garbage in equals garbage out. And right now we're consuming an awful lot of garbage. Look, news isn't designed to grab your attention. News is designed specifically to grab your attention. It's not designed to have you just go, oh, look, it's happy and life is good. If they don't grab your attention and get you to focus on what's going on, they're not going to have advertisers. If they don't have advertisers, they don't have money, and the news goes away. So news is negative because that's what sells. You know, a salacious headline beats positivity every freaking day. We all love a good tragedy. Bad news sells. Nobody wants to hear the love story. No one wants to hear how good the world is, right? A headline of a plane landing safely and all the passengers going home does nothing to drive attention, but hundreds killed in a fiery crash, that gives people that dopamine rush, that hit, and they want to read deeper and they want to focus on it more. It's why news has become so divisive to our society. It's why news has made enemies between Republicans and Democrats. It's why parties don't get along anymore. It's why Christians hate liberals and liberals hate the Christian agenda, right? It's the news that you're feeding. I times F equals PR. The information you're putting inside of you creates the focus, which creates your personal reality. It's a really simple formula, and I thought it was a brilliant formula. That's why I'm talking about this today. So I spend a lot of time feeding my brain good stuff, not just bad stuff. Now, let me say this. I came from the media world. I came from that side of the world. I spent years in the news talk space, but it was different. It was different then. And news isn't bad or wrong. It just feeds people what they respond to. It's like Pavlovian response. So just, think about that. Our challenge is to think for ourselves and not let outside influences cloud your judgment and take your focus off important tasks. And that's a struggle for a lot of us right now. You need to build a plan to consciously feed your mind with information that can help you grow, make intelligent decisions, choices to better the quality of your life. It's really that simple. So, I choose to focus on stuff that makes me think, that gives me growth. The world is only as dark as the stuff you feed your mind to believe it is. It's time to start lightening up. And you lighten up by enlightening your brain. That means protecting the door to your mind, only letting in high value data and stuff that increases your knowledge, your vision, improves your quality of life, your business, your relationships, your friendships, stuff like that. Not the garbage that's being spoon-fed to us 24/7 by news media, because that is not making the world a healthier place. It's damaging it. It's from firsthand experience, I can tell you that it's hard to stay positive because people try to convince me that I can't live my dreams and I can't achieve the things that I want to do. And they're not trying to stop me. They just don't want to see me fail. But that's the story in their head, and it shouldn't dictate the thoughts in mine. And that's what happens. So I choose not to swallow the spoon-fed stuff that's being fed to me every day. Instead, I look for high-quality information. I trust my gut. I listen to it more. And I don't listen to the people around me as much as I used to. And that's a really healthy thing for me. When you protect the door to your mind, you are only allowing in high quality stuff that expands your thinking, opens up pathways to new ideas, increases your ability to create, to come up with new things. One of the things that's driving a lot of this insanity right now is social media, because it creates something called social proof. So in the advertising space, social proof is when an ad runs and people like it and they comment on it and they share, people go, oh, that must be good, right? It's social proof. We look around us and we determine how we should feel or respond to something based on what other people are saying about it. That's what social proof does. And that's what's happening in the news cycle. And it's 100% the wrong way to look at this. There's a pattern that's forming here that's really screwing with people, and it's bringing them down this dark hole of hatred, anger, anxiety. A crowd wants to push you in their direction. They don't want you to go off on your own and do your own thing, because that's not good. So I choose to go off in my own direction and do my own thing. I've always done that. And I've always marched to this really weird beat. My drum beat is very different than everybody else's. So when I started thinking about this, after I responded, after I got myself sucked into the conversation about what the president said last week in a press conference, when I allowed myself to get sucked into that conversation, I was like, whoa, what are you doing? This is not good. This is not you. This is not where you should focus your attention. And that's what really got me fired up to talk about this today, because, and I wrote notes. I was in my car dictating notes on my way down to Tucson on an hour-and-a-half drive to help my parents with their technology yesterday, because my brain was so fired up about this, because I allowed myself to get sucked into this darkness, to this pit. So now's the time for us to start thinking differently and not follow the crowd. It's not the time to get sucked into the mob. It's not the time to follow the herd. It's not the time to be a lemming. It's the time to do you, the time to grow, expand your thinking. You know, your vision, like my vision, is yours. You're the only one who can take it from idea to concept to reality. You got to focus on how to solve problems, not the problem itself. Focus on how to solve problems, not the problem. Feed your mind high quality information, and you'll do that way faster with way less distractions, with way less bullshit getting in your way of doing what you want to do. So how do I protect the door? How do I protect the door to my mind? I feed it stuff like TED Talks, content from Mind Valley. I focus on something that I learned at Business Mastery. By the way, for those of you who are business owners who have not attended Tony Robbins' Business Mastery, you're doing yourself an incredible disservice. Business Mastery is, this is the Business Mastery Bible. I cannot tell you the value that's in here, but one of the things that I focus on is what's called CANI, constant and never-ending improvement in my business. Constant and never-ending improvement or innovation in my business, and I'm constantly working on that. I challenge you to find great information. I challenge you to find great stuff that's going to feed your brain and make tomorrow better than today. Because that's what I do every day, and I realized I let myself get sucked into that shit, which is very, very unlike me. And it's time for all of us to start focusing our attention on stuff that adds value and grows us as human beings and doesn't contract us. It's got to grow us. So there is my rant. And I'll tell you, it's for me, and I see there's comments coming in, and I will get to you guys. And thank you, Justin, for that. Great topic. So many people not thinking for themselves, just digesting the garbage out there. And it's absolutely 100% true, Jim. Alfredo, topic hits a home run. Need more of this. Is so true. This is why I don't listen to radio instead of food for the mind now. And I know I'm mumbling again. I know it. Sorry about that. If you have a question, you have a comment, you want to join the live stream, do it now. Here's the link. You can jump in on the live stream and join me. I would love to chat with you. Happy to talk to you. You could always text your comments, 480-712-4177, 480-712-4177. What are you doing to protect your mind? What are you doing to keep out the bad stuff, to feed yourself the good stuff? Because right now, that's what we should be doing. Right now, we should be feeding our minds good quality information and not the garbage that's being spoon-fed to us by national media and international media. Now, I see someone popping in, and it's Megan from my team, and I'm either going to get hammered or Megan's going to have something enlightening to add to this. Megan?
So I just have a task for you to check off. Kidding. That's not the easiest way to get a hold of you. So no, I have a background in SEO. Sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. And one of the things I learned really early on, especially in social media, was how to identify garbage posts, garbage sources, right? And a lot of people have never had that experience to spot the toxic stuff. So if you think about it like a diet, you can put good stuff in all day, but if you're still eating the junk food, you're undermining your success. So
you can have a salad, but if you're eating salad and 16 cheeseburgers at the same time, the salad doesn't do any good.
Yeah, you haven't given the salad enough room to do its job. So one of the first things I do is I always look at the URL, I always look at the source. And if it's a garbage source, which we're going to talk about in a second, I either report it or I don't engage with it, because what boosts it and what makes it spread like a virus is when people engage with it. So even if you comment to say it's garbage, you're actually boosting it. You're pushing it to more people. What I look for are sources that are reputable, that have journalistic integrity. I try really hard to not scroll very long on Facebook these days. I try to make a point to not get a lot of news from there because people are sharing things that are not authoritative. So I look at my New York Times daily briefing, and if it says Washington Times, I know that that website is someone assuming that the Washington Post is reputable, the New York Times is reputable, and if you say Washington Times, they will assume it is reputable. Mm. So those are the things I'm always looking for in terms of, is it worth watching? If it's a YouTube link of one ER doctor saying a thing about how virus spread or what we should be doing to control the pandemic, I don't take that seriously. And this is not disrespect to the frontline workers.
Absolutely not.
But one ER doctor is not someone at the CDC who's studying how this spreads and what are the behaviors. They are on the front lines treating people, and that's different.
But remember this, see, in feeding your mind with good quality content, what determines the barometer of good quality content is, are you being spoon-fed stuff that everyone's just doing this, right? If you align, like I remember a few weeks ago, I had a friend who I really challenged online because he made a comment about one political party and that he never wants customers in that political party. I shared this in one of my live streams. He never wanted to deal with customers in that political party because they're all idiots. And I thought to myself, you're dividing your audience in half because you have a belief, right?
Yeah.
That belief comes from information in times focus became his personal reality. So his personal reality became that this political party was full of idiots because the information he chooses to feed himself allows him to focus on that, which amplifies it, which becomes the reality.
Yeah. And just because we disagree on certain political realities doesn't mean the group that disagrees with you can't tie their shoes or drive their car to work. Well, no one should really be driving
their car to work while they're driving the shoes. By the way, I'm really glad you got the black t-shirt memo today. Thank you.
It's
doing your part for the team. And I'll be available after this, so you can get me then for sure. So what is the content? What content are you using to feed your mind? And so I'm going to challenge you to start binge watching, not Netflix, but binge watching TED Talks. Subscribe and learn from content on Mind Valley. Do stuff, learn stuff that expands what's going into this and pushes back on the stuff that everyone is just becoming a lemming about and becoming a sheep about. And avoid the crap on social media, especially engaging. I shared a photograph of my son is graduating this year from high school. I've got one in college, one graduating, one going into high school. So like my world is moving fast, and I've got two in grade school. And his graduation has been messed up from this COVID thing. My comment online was honoring my son, blah, blah, blah. We've done this because even though he's graduating, there won't be a this, that. And the first person to comment, and I'm going to keep his name out of this, went right into a political rant about why we should open up the country and why this is wrong, right? Because the information that he consumes allows his focus to be amplified to create that personal reality. That post had nothing to do with politics. It had nothing to do with the world news situation. It had everything to do with my 18-year-old son and his high school graduation. Think about that. It had everything to do with my son and his graduation. It wasn't a political statement. People are spending too much time, too much damn energy feeding their minds shit. And when you put shit in, you get shit out. Stop feeding your brain shit and start focusing on great, valuable content that fuels you from here to here. That's it. You guys are awesome. Have an amazing day. I love you. I will see you tomorrow. I have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring, but that's what I had for today. And to my dear friend, Larry Gatos, words cannot express how sad I am for you and your loss and the loss of your mom this weekend. Have an amazing Monday. I will see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Take care.